Night falls over a mountain trail in Japan. A young monk is returning to his monastery after long hours of prayer. The forest is silent, the wind rustling through the leaves the only sound. Suddenly, a delicate flute melody drifts through the trees, so beautiful that his heart begins to race. He sees a faint light between the trees and steps closer. There stands a woman in crimson robes, her gaze both captivating and unsettling. She smiles and waves. But in a blink, her face changes. Her nose stretches into a sharp beak. Her eyes gleam like a predatory bird, and massive wings unfurl behind her. He realizes he is face to face with a Tengu. The creature approaches, its voice like music. Do you seek power, knowledge, or do you seek me? The monk falls to his knees. Only the whisper of the wind and a hoarse, distant laughter echo through the mountains. And here the narrator speaks. This is not just a legend. It is a warning. Who are the Tengu, and why have they for centuries lured and tested those who venture into Japan's mountains? Introduction to the world of Tengu. Tengu are among the most enigmatic beings of Japanese folklore. They are depicted with features of both humans and birds, a sharp beak-like nose, wings, and the ability to fly. They dwell in high mountains and dense forests, far from human eyes. Legends portray Tengu as both guardians of sacred knowledge and cunning tempters. Their role in mythology is dual. On one hand, Tengu are masters of martial arts, protectors of sacred places, and teachers for courageous warriors and monks. On the other, they possess a power that can tempt, distract, and test humans, revealing hidden weaknesses and desires. Encounters with Tengu were often described as mystical trials. A young warrior might climb the mountains to train in swordsmanship, only to find himself confronted not only by physical challenges, but also by the subtle pull of his own hidden desires. The beauty, charisma, and enigmatic allure of these beings acted as mirrors, reflecting the passions and weaknesses that humans often hide from themselves. Legends emphasize that Tengu chose those susceptible to vanity, curiosity, or loneliness. But those who approached with pure intentions, respect for the spiritual world, and a sincere heart could receive extraordinary gifts, knowledge, strength, or wisdom that could not be attained through ordinary means. Every story of Tengu is more than a tale of a supernatural creature. It is a warning, recorded in folklore over centuries. Desires, pride, and temptation can lead to downfall.
In the mountains, Tengu do not select their subjects at random. These beings possess a keen perception, capable of seeing deep into the human heart. They sense weaknesses, hidden desires, loneliness, and the craving for recognition. Legends describe several types of people who were particularly drawn to the attention of Tengu. 1. The vain and ambitious. A warrior or monk who believed that their talent or strength placed them above others often became the focus of a Tengu. The creature would lure them with promises of extraordinary abilities or fame, subtly guiding them toward actions that could either transform or challenge their inner world. Sometimes these were tests of humility, trials meant to reshape their character or reveal their limitations. 2. The curious and reckless. Those seeking knowledge without wisdom often encountered Tengu. They were drawn by mysterious flute melodies in the night, or by glowing trails that seemed to beckon them deeper into the forest. At times, Tengu allowed these individuals glimpses of truths not meant for ordinary eyes, hidden rituals, secret paths into the spiritual world. Yet curiosity often carried risk. Mystical experiences could alter their perception of time, confront them with inner fears, or leave lasting impressions that could never be fully explained. 3. The lonely and sensitive. Tengu were also drawn to those who sought companionship or solace in the mountains. A solitary traveler might feel the attention of an unseen presence, magnetic yet unsettling. In these encounters, Tengu employed subtle allure, creating mystical experiences that tested emotional vulnerability and invited self-reflection. Importantly, Tengu did not act with overt force. Their interactions were delicate, enigmatic, and often indirect. They relied on beauty, magic, charisma, and illusions to guide humans toward confronting their own hidden desires. Sometimes this appeared as a gentle charm, a flicker of light, a shadow dancing on the trees, the faint sound of a whisper that seemed both familiar and otherworldly. Each encounter left a lasting mark. Folklore recounts people who, after meeting a Tengu, became wiser and more cautious, or, conversely, faced inner uncertainty and fear as they confronted hidden parts of themselves. These stories, preserved across centuries, highlight one truth: Tengu never choose indiscriminately.
Tengu are not creatures of brute force. They are masters of subtlety. Their power lies in perception, in their ability to read a human heart and gently manipulate it. They do not need to strike or threaten. Instead, they entice, test, and reveal the hidden corners of a person's mind. In folklore, Tengu used a variety of methods to captivate and influence humans. Some of these were simple yet profoundly effective: a sudden gust of wind that shifted the path, a faint melody of a flute carried on the night air, or the glimmer of lights between the trees. These small, almost imperceptible actions could draw a traveler deeper into the forest, away from the safety of the known world and into the unknown. Tengu also employed illusions, shaping their appearance to appeal to the deepest desires or fears of those they encountered. A young monk might see a beautiful woman in crimson robes. A warrior might perceive an inspiring teacher or rival. And a lonely traveler might sense a comforting presence in the dark woods. These visions were never random. They were tailored to the person's psychology, revealing truths that were hidden even from themselves. One of the most remarkable methods of Tengu influence was their use of charisma and mystique. They could speak in tones that resonated with the soul, or move with a grace so hypnotic that the mind became unsteady, distracted, and vulnerable. The legends often describe the voice of a Tengu as being like music, so alluring that the listener might forget where they were or what they were doing, swept into a trance-like state. In such moments, humans were not coerced, but they willingly followed, drawn by fascination, curiosity, or the promise of knowledge. Tengu also tested humans through indirect challenges. A seemingly trivial choice, like stepping onto a certain path, touching a certain object, or following a fleeting shadow, could become a trial of character. These tests revealed pride, greed, patience, and courage. Some travelers emerged enlightened, having learned humility and self-control. Others returned changed in ways they did not understand, haunted by shadows of desire or regret. Even the simplest gestures of a Tengu could carry profound significance. A smile, a tilt of the head, or a fleeting glance
could suggest possibilities beyond the physical world, hinting at knowledge or power that no human could claim easily. Their wings, ever present in folklore, symbolized freedom and escape from the ordinary laws of nature, reinforcing the sense that a Tengu was always slightly beyond reach, impossible to fully grasp or resist. Legends also emphasize the emotional and psychological influence of Tengu. They could heighten a person's awareness.
Encounters with Tengu are rarely simple or ordinary. They leave marks, subtle or profound, on those who cross their paths. Legends tell of warriors, monks, and travelers who ventured into the mountains and forests, only to return changed, sometimes in ways they could never fully explain. The consequences were as varied as the personalities they tested, but a single truth persisted: meeting a Tengu was never inconsequential. For some, the encounter awakened latent strength or wisdom. A young warrior, having followed a Tengu's guidance through mysterious trials, might discover hidden abilities, both in combat and in thought. A monk who had faced the Tengu's subtle tests of desire and patience could emerge with deeper understanding of his own heart and a heightened awareness of the spiritual world. In these cases, the Tengu acted as a teacher, a guide leading humans to self-realization and enlightenment. Yet not all consequences were so benevolent. Legends abound with stories of those who succumbed to temptation, allowing curiosity, vanity, or longing to guide them too far. A scholar, for instance, might glimpse forbidden knowledge only to become obsessed, haunted by visions and thoughts that clouded reason. A solitary traveler might be lured by the Tengu's beauty or mystery, only to return disoriented, with a sense of longing and loss that never truly left them. These outcomes are often described with delicate horror. The individual is not harmed physically, but the shadow of the encounter lingers, subtly altering their perception, their choices, and their sense of self. Some encounters ended in isolation or estrangement. A person who allowed desire or ambition to outweigh caution might find themselves separated from friends, family, or society, driven by a restless yearning sparked in the mountains. Others were transformed internally, carrying a duality within themselves, the memory of what was lost or nearly gained, combined with the lessons learned through fear and fascination. These transformations were rarely visible to others, yet they were profound, shaping the course of a life in ways both mystical and psychological. Tengu encounters also illustrate the balance between reward and consequence. In many tales, those who showed humility, respect, and genuine curiosity received gifts, secret knowledge, mystical tools, or spiritual insight. These gifts were never simple, nor were they free from challenge. They often required reflection, courage, and self-discipline to integrate, acting as both a blessing and a test. The Tengu's duality ensured that every reward carried a lesson, and every lesson was entwined with risk. Psychologically, the Tengu's influence was subtle but profound. They could illuminate hidden desires, amplify fears, and challenge moral judgments. A person might confront thoughts and emotions they had never acknowledged, forced to examine motives and impulses that previously went unnoticed. In this sense, the Tengu functioned as a mirror, reflecting the inner self with unsettling clarity, revealing both darkness and light, temptation and virtue. Legends describe the lingering effects of such encounters in terms both mystical and cautionary. A traveler might forever hear a faint flute melody when alone, a reminder of a past encounter. A warrior could recall the fleeting vision of wings against moonlight, spurring reflection on choices made. Even centuries later, stories speak of descendants. As the mists rise from the mountain peaks and the wind whispers through the trees, the Tengu remain, silent, observing, ever present in the shadows of human desire and ambition. Their stories are not just tales of fear or fascination. They are reflections of human nature, mirrors in which the soul sees itself. The Tengu embody duality. They are both teacher and tempter, protector and trickster, beautiful and terrifying. They exist to challenge, to reveal, and to transform,
In every encounter, they expose hidden desires, test moral fortitude, and illuminate the choices that shape a life. Their wings symbolize freedom, their flight, the transcendence of ordinary limits, and their presence, the ever-present tension between human aspiration and human weakness. Throughout history, the mountains and forests of Japan have echoed with tales of those who dared to venture too far or approached with courage and humility. Some returned wiser, stronger, and more attuned to the mysteries of the world. Others came back haunted, their hearts weighed by longing, regret, or the shadow of a truth they were not ready to accept. Yet all were marked, all were changed. Even the most subtle encounters carry weight. A glance, a fleeting melody, a whisper among the leaves, these are the threads by which Tengu weave their influence. They remind humans that desire and discipline, curiosity and caution, ambition and humility are eternally intertwined. The Tengu do not coerce, they reveal. They do not punish without cause, they reflect. And in that reflection, the human soul confronts itself. In modern times, Tengu endure as symbols, not merely of folklore, but of the complexity of human experience. They are warnings and guides, invitations to self-awareness, and challenges to confront the shadows within. Their stories remind us that every desire carries responsibility, every temptation carries consequence, and every moment of introspection carries the potential for transformation. Ultimately, Tengu are eternal mirrors of duality. They are the embodiment of the tension between what humans seek and what they must understand. They are the unseen forces that test, guide, and sometimes seduce, not with malice, but with revelation. To encounter a Tengu is to confront both the mystery of the mountains and the mystery of one's own heart. And it is in that encounter, whether in fear, fascination, or wonder, that the true lesson of the Tengu endures. Wisdom lies not only in knowledge, but in the courage to face one's own reflection. As the night deepens and the wind carries the faintest sound of a flute, one truth remains. The Tengu wait in the shadows, and those who dare to meet them may find power, insight, or even the shadow of themselves they never knew existed.